Well, good evening tonight. Welcome to Highland on Christmas Eve. We're really glad to have you here. Have you ever had something happen to you that was so exciting you just wanted to tell everybody about it? So I've got a story that I want to share with you, something that happened to me. And some of you have heard this story before, probably less than half of you, but some of you have heard it. And even those of you who have heard it before, I'm excited to tell you about it again. But this past October, Sherry and I celebrated our 34th wedding anniversary. And usually for our anniversary, we don't do anything big. We'll go to, Texas Roadhouse in Terre Haute. That's kind of the extent of our celebration. But this year, just a few days leading up to our anniversary, Sherry said, "What do you want to do for our anniversary this year?" And I'm like, "Well, we usually go to Texas Roadhouse in Terre Haute. Do you want to do something different this year? I guess we could go to Cheddar's, make it really exciting." So it was one of those deals where we didn't have days that we could go do something, and we kind of live in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing close to get to. So it's not like we could go do something quick, leave for the day, do something, come back. But Sherry suggested, would you like to go to Nashville and go to the Grand Ole Opry? That sounded kind of fun to me. I'd never been there before. So we were going to do that. We were going to leave on a Friday morning, get down there, have dinner, go to the show, spend the night, and then come back on Saturday. So that was the plan. To make this even better, Sherry has a childhood friend that works at the Grand Ole Opry and had told us some years ago, unbeknownst to me, that he could get us free tickets. So getting better all the time. So we make plans, make arrangements. We head down there, we do that. We arrive, we do dinner, we get there, we get our tickets. Get to our seats, and the show starts, and I'm having a grand old time. I'm loving what's happening. The show is good. The entertainers are great. Usually when somebody goes to a concert like that, to see a performer, you will choose who you want to see, and then you go on that night. For us, it was kind of the opposite of that. We just had that night, and whoever was playing, that's who we were going to see. Because if I were going to choose somebody, I would choose Garth Brooks. Anybody with me on that one? Some. He's an entertainer. I've never been before to see him. I've really never been to see anybody before. But the performers were good. They did a great job. Of course, if they're at the Grand Ole Opry, they're good. They were entertaining. They were even funny. Had kind of these little routes they would go through, kind of funny stuff they would do. But we're doing this, and intermission came. And so Sherry's friend had told us if he had time, he would come and see us at intermission. So intermission came, and Sherry was kind of saying, I kind of need to go to the bathroom, but should I wait just in case he shows up? I'm like, yeah, let's wait for a little while. And wasn't very long, here he came. And so we had some chit-chat for a bit, just idle conversation. And then he asked us, would you like to go backstage with me to the green room? Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. So he takes us back there. There's Sherry in the green room. And I'm back there looking around, seeing if I see anybody famous. And I didn't see anybody. That must have just been like family members of the performers, because the performers have their own dressing rooms. But there was drinks and popcorn and all kinds of stuff like in there for us to have. So we're kind of hanging out and we're looking, and you could even kind of look in the area where the performers go out onto the stage. We could see the whole crowd out there milling around. It's still intermission. So we're kind of checking this all out, and he comes back after a little while. And he says, would you like to go sit on the stage? I think we would. That sounds pretty good to me. So we go out there, and they've got just around the corner on the back side of the stage a place to sit. It's just these old church pews, just one of them sitting there, and it's from the old Ryman Auditorium. Ryman Auditorium is the old building where they had the Grand Ole Opry before they built this one, which they still call the new one, but I think it was built in something like 1975. But they have these old church pews that are there where you can sit right up against the back wall, right where the performers would enter onto the stage. And so we're sitting there, we're taking pictures, we're gawking around, crowds out there milling around, doing their thing, kind of stage hands walking on and off the stage. We're just kind of enjoying it. We're taking pictures, taking video. We're sending all this stuff to our kids, and we're sending it to my brothers, and Sherry's taking video of me and sending it to the kids, and the kids are responding with things like, I don't think I've ever seen Dad so happy. So we're having a good time sitting there and gawking and taking pictures. And then I said to Sherry, when do you think we have to leave and go back to our seats? She said, well, I don't know. I'll go ask. And so she goes and asks her friend, and he says, oh, you can stay here for the rest of the show if you want. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool as well. So we're sitting there, and they had performers come on for the second half of the show, and it was Terry Clark and Ricky Skaggs, and like the backup singers are right there where we could reach out and touch them. And I could have done a spitball on Ricky Skaggs. He was close enough to me for that, but I didn't. I refrained from that one. So we're enjoying all of that. And then the MC for the evening said, this is the opening night for the 100th anniversary of the Grand Ole Opry. And so we have a surprise on anniversary night because anniversaries are for surprises. The surprise was not us, if that's what you're thinking. But then she said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Garth Brooks. And he is standing, I look, he's standing 20 feet away from me. And he comes running out onto the stage, and the place just goes crazy. Everybody stands up. They're yelling and screaming, getting out their phones. He comes out. He's got his hat off. He's waving it around all over the place. He's over on this side of the stage. He's over on that side of the stage. Everybody's screaming and having a great time. And he just has to keep doing that while everybody keeps screaming for a long time. And Sherry and I are getting our phones out, and we're like, this is so cool. And this is our view. Like, this is from our phones that we're taking. So he's up there performing. He starts in singing Baton Rouge. He's got the whole place going. Everybody's having a great time. And he's coming back every once in a while, even kind of facing us, because he's playing up with the drummer. I think that shows here in just a minute. I'm going to sit and watch the video and just relive the experience with you again. But like the backup singers aren't there right now, but it was great. And I told Sherry, like, this is the best anniversary ever. We're never going to be able to top this again. And so we were telling everybody about it. Again, we're texting family and friends. I'm texting the church staff and sending pictures and all that kind of stuff. And so we spent the night, drove back the next morning, and I got back home in time that it was still daylight. So I went back to the golf course, played 9 holes, and I'm seeing people on the golf course that I know. And I'm so excited, I'm still talking about all of this. So I'm telling them, you're never going to believe what happened to me. And I'm sharing the whole story with them. And then I came to church that Sunday, and I got up to speak, and I said, this doesn't have anything to do with the sermon, but I had something happen to me so cool that I just want to tell you about it today. So I told everybody about it. But here's what I discovered. Nobody cared about it nearly as much as I did. And I think it was because it happened to me and not you. It's like if it happens to us, we're really excited about it, but it's like, well, that doesn't affect me any. And you probably had that kind of thing happen before as well, because like we have something exciting that we want to tell people about, and so maybe it's you got accepted to college. You got your acceptance letter, and so you go around telling everybody, U of I got a job that I was looking for. We're engaged. We're having a baby. And people will say they're excited, but they're not nearly as excited as you are, except when you're having a baby, maybe your mom. But when I was telling people this story, the best I would get was kind of a polite, oh, cool. At church that Sunday, when I told it first hour, I got such a bland response from everybody that I didn't even bother telling it second hour. That's why half of you have heard this before and half of you haven't. But on that very first Christmas night, there was something really exciting that happened to these shepherds. They were just out watching their sheep as usual, and all of a sudden, angels appeared. We have good news of great joy, but it's not just for you, it's for all people. And I want you to listen to how this goes in the Bible. It says this in Luke chapter 2. It says, after the angels had appeared to them, told them the news, go and find this baby. It says they hurried off and they found Mary and Joseph and the baby, who was still lying in the manger. And when they had seen him, they spread the word concerning what had been told about this child. And so, in other words, they're telling everybody. They're texting all of their shepherd friends and their family, all their brothers. They're going to church and telling the story about these angels that had appeared to them. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said. And so there was no polite, oh, cool response, because this was for all people, not just for the shepherds. It was for everybody, and so everybody was amazed about it. But they were so excited, they wanted to tell everybody. So the shepherds did. We tell people stories we're excited about. I wonder if we're as excited as the shepherds were that night about the message of this birth of the Savior. Are we sharing that news like the shepherds did? So I want to encourage you. There is good news of great joy for all people. Share this story.